Hi there, thanks for tuning in. My name is Maria. Today I have a special dessert. It is baklava. I'm actually making it the way I know how, which is a combination of the Greek and Turkish. And the reason why I say Turkish is because I use pistachios. So I use a mix of pistachios and walnuts. So I think it's delicious. I think you're gonna find, if you've never tried it, you're going to fall in love with it. It's very decadent. I don't recommend eating too much of it, but it stores well and you can put it away, and when you got a sweet tooth, just grab a piece and sit down and enjoy. So let's get in that kitchen, let's get busy, and here we go. Getting my little nuts out of those shells. You know where you're gonna have to cut out. So I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to be a little busy bunny because pistachios and shells, which means I have to spend the next probably 15-20 minutes getting my little nuts out of those shells. I have looked everywhere for shelled pistachios here and I could not find it. So hopefully you don't have that same luck as I did. Hopefully you can find ones that are already shelled. And I know Costco does carry them. That's a good place to check. I want to show you the ingredients that will go into this baklava. Well, we got my pistachios, which I'll be working at to get them out of the shells. We need walnuts, phyllo pastry, some brown sugar, white sugar, a lemon, orange, cinnamon sticks, cinnamon powder, melted butter, some honey, some cardamom. I've got cardamom seed and cardamom in powder because we'll need both. Also some cloves, and if I haven't said this already, we need some cinnamon powder. And that's all that goes into this version of baklava. All right, so I've got my chopper out. We'll need that. So I managed to get a cup of the pistachio. We have 2 cups of walnuts. What we're going to do is, first things first, we want to mix or chop these pistachios, but we're not going to chop them fine. We just want to have some bits and pieces of that. So we're just going to set it on low and pulse. The ideal thing is to have little bits and pieces. So we've got some chunks, and then we've got some finer crumb, and that's what we want. I'm going to do the same thing with the walnuts. Doesn't take long. There you go. All right, to make our syrup, I've got 1 cup of water and 1 cup of sugar in the saucepan. I'm going to turn it on to medium-low. I might add another 3/4 cups of sugar. I think I want to double on my syrup. And the reason why I like to double on the syrup is because I like my baklava wet. And I do keep it for a couple of weeks in a container. Sometimes I freeze it, and it's always nice to have it moist rather than drying out. So I'm going to double up my syrup. And you don't have to. Well, maybe not double up. 1.5. Okay. It's 1.5 cups of sugar and 1.5 cups of water. Now, if I was using a larger tray, because I'm only using a square, to make my baklava. Where typically I would use the long rectangular, much larger. I would definitely double up the batch of the syrup. Okay, so we're going to have the syrup and water dilute. Got it on medium low. And then, once the sugar's all melted in there, I'm going to add, I'll show you what we have here. Now, I love it super spicy. And when I say spicy, I'm talking about the flavors in the syrup. Okay, I'm going to add 3 sticks of delicious cinnamon. Absolutely love cinnamon. Oh, it smells so nice. The cardamom pods, I'm going to add, I love cardamom. Okay, I'm going to add probably, 6. So 2, 4, 5, 6. The more the merrier, is what I say. And for the cloves, who doesn't like cloves? Smells so nice. I'm gonna add probably 4 cloves. Set them aside. I'm going to add about 4 strips of orange rind. I use a potato peeler, and that's what you want. 2, 4, let's go 6. Why not? And I do slice a piece of orange into the syrup because I'm going to have a little bit of lemon and orange in there. So I want to have a nice balance. Okay, so 3 strips of lemon and 6 orange, 3 sticks of cinnamon, some clove and cardamom. And we're just gonna let this simmer. Now, you don't have to use honey, but I will put 1 tablespoon of honey into this syrup. This honey is actually from Madeira, and it is just says flower. It's in 4 different languages but English. Flower honey. And I'm only adding 1 large tablespoon of it, and that's it. All right, so sugar's all melted in there. We're just gonna stir that, and we're gonna let it simmer. And it will thicken. And that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna leave it alone. Combine all those delicious flavors. Imagine this recipe, well, this is my recipe, my version of baklava. But the baklava has been around for, I believe, at least 1,000 years. I read an article about that, and it was quite interesting. It's like, wow, imagine Persians and Egyptians, they had their version of it. It's quite interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to cover that, and it's going to simmer, and we're just going to leave it alone. For the filling, we're going to grab a bowl. We're going to put our walnuts and pistachios. I'm going to take 3/4 cup of brown sugar. I just want to make sure all the lumps are out. I'm going to add that to it. This is such a nice dessert. You can actually make this and then decorate it individual pieces and present in a tray and wrap it up like a gift. I've done that over the years. Look at that. That's a lot of sugar that's been turned into little chunks, and I don't want that in our mix. Okay, so you see that the Syrup is boiling now, so we want to turn it down to a simmer, and you just leave it alone. Let it do its thing. Okay. Oh, I know if my sons were here, they would be like, "Oh my God, Mom, thank you. I love it. Can't wait to have a piece of baklava." They love this stuff. Alan, my husband Alan, he never really had a sweet tooth, but believe me, over the years I've noticed, especially the last few, he's really caught on to a lot of different sweets, and this is one of them. He would definitely eat it from, over the years, but now it seems like instead of having just the one piece, he'll eat a few chunks. Okay. Give that a stir. It's looking beautiful. To this, I'm going to add cinnamon. And I love cinnamon, so I am not shy with it. And I'm going to add 1 tablespoon cinnamon. I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove. Here we are, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. Give it another stir. Now, you could add some almonds if you want. I've made this with a mixed variety of nuts. But for today, this particular one, I'm making it as Maria's favorite, my family's favorite. It's just pistachio and walnut. Okay, now you could take a little spoon and just try it this way for seasoning. Oh, mamma mia, so yummy. Yummy, yummy. When I get those flavors in my mouth, all I want to do is jump and dance. Oh, it's so good. So good. And you don't need any more brown sugar than the 2/3 cup of it, because with the syrup, the reason why we score the baklava once it's in the tray, it's so that you don't score it right through. It's 3/4 of the way. It's for the soaking. When you pour the syrup over the tray, once it's baked, that sweetness from the syrup is going to filter through all the layers, and it's going to give it that sweetness throughout, so you don't need any more sugar than that. I almost want to add another tablespoon of cinnamon in this, because I love cinnamon. I love that flavor. Let me just try it one more time. I'm gonna get a little spoon. Try it one more time. So good. You know what? I'm gonna add a little more, another teaspoon. I'm gonna add a teaspoon, so that's a tablespoon plus another teaspoon of cinnamon. And love that stuff. I made a decision to also add another 1/4 teaspoon of the cloves, because it's just so delicious. All right, I'm happy now. All right. It's hard not to like this dish. Alrighty. I'm gonna try it one more time. With a clean spoon, of course. All right, that did the trick. Oh, that's so good. So good. The weather today is just peculiar, because it's supposed to be 23, 24. So I was all excited, looking forward to going for a quick swim. And I have my laundry out hanging on the fence, but it looks like it's gonna rain. It's not supposed to rain. All right, so we've got the nut mix ready. The next thing on the list here is to get our phyllo pastry prepared. With that, we'll need melted butter, and we're going to need at least half a cup. I'm going to start off with half a cup of melted butter. You need a pastry brush, and you want to get a couple of pieces of paper towel, or if you don't have paper towel, a dishcloth, a clean dishcloth, and you want to dampen it just slightly, because our phyllo pastry has to stay moist because it dries out real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, get everything ready for the next step. In my syrup, I added a few more ingredients. Not so much ingredients, but what I've done. I just upped the cloves because I really love that flavor. And the cardamon seeds, I probably put another 6, and then the cloves probably another, I think maybe 5, and 2.5 slices of orange. It just gives it such a nice flavor. I have taken it off the heat, and it's the syrup, so it smells so good. It's so delicious. You can drink it like this if you really wanted to. No, I'm just kidding. And anyhow, so that's going to be put aside, and it'll cool down, of course. Just going to cover it. We've got our nut mix ready. I've got half a cup of melted butter to start off. We've got our square baking dish ready to go, and the phyllo sheets, which I'll open up shortly. I'm going to keep them under a clean dishcloth to keep the moisture, because they do dry out quite fast. So let's assemble this. Gone ahead and taken the package off the phyllo. Ready to go. Quite large sheets. And as I said, you need a clean dishcloth to keep on top of the pastry sheet, because you don't want it drying out. They do dry out pretty quick. All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start assembling the baklava. So we've got our mix, our melted butter. I start off with half a cup. If I need more, which I probably will, I will add some more. I appreciate this size phyllo sheet because the size of my pan, I could actually, it's going to make my life a lot easier, because I can actually take one sheet, butter it, and then fold it, so it's perfect. Don't worry about the sides. It doesn't have to be identical size to your pan. Okay. Fold. I'm finding these sheets are a little thicker than what I normally buy. Now this is from a different grocery store, because the one I usually shop at was completely out. So I had to drive to another grocery store in the next town over. Okay, so I'm going to start off halfway. You see what I'm doing. The goal here is to have the whole sheet covered in butter. And for the bottom, the very first, I'm going to say the first 4 sheets. So that's 2, 3, 4. I will then add some nut mix on this 4th layer. Okay, I'm going to continue with our next Now I said keep your sheets covered, and I haven't been doing that. So let's cover these so they don't dry out. Be generous with the butter. That's all you do. And for each, I'm gonna go, well, you have to butter each sheet. But for this next, that's one layer, so we're gonna go 3 layers, and then we'll put some nuts. Some people will put nuts in each layer, but you don't have to. I'm finding that this phyllo sheet is thicker, so I might end up just fold that side. I find that because it's thicker, I might just make the layers every 2 instead of every 3. We'll see. Okay. Whoops. I got 3 tablespoons on that layer. And we're going to continue. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 2. I've got 14 layers here. So I'll bring it back when I'm all finished. All right, so I took another a quarter cup. Let me think about this. I melted half a cup of butter, and I took another quarter cup. You might have to use a whole package of butter, and that's okay, because like I said, very decadent, rich dessert, and it's not something you make all the time. So I'm going to continue. I'm almost done. It's almost like making a lasagna. I got my oven preheated at 350 degrees, and then we're going to bake it. Well, before we put it in the oven, we have to square it, and I'll show you how to do that. And I'm going to make the traditional triangles because I like how that looks. We can do squares, but triangle is usually how it's done. And I like tradition. Even though I'm not Greek or Turkish, it's nice. It's a nice pattern. I've got 2 sheets left, so let's continue. Oops. Yeah. I've got 1 sheet left. I'm going to make sure that this layer will have the remaining nut, because we don't put any nuts on the last layer, the top layer. It's just the pastry sheet. So I put that with the last layer with nuts, and the last sheet will have no nuts. Generous with the butter. Make sure you get all the edges covered with butter, because if you don't, it will crumble. It'll just dry out when it bakes. We don't want that to happen. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to turn this upside down so it looks like one sheet. I think that'll look prettier. It's almost like a piece of paper, like a sheet of paper. It's so thin. Oopsie. You see what I'm trying to do here? Just so that it looks prettier. Folded edge. All right, that's better. Generous with the butter. And that is the end. And I'm going to put it in the fridge for about 10 minutes. The oven's preheating, and the reason why I'm putting it in the fridge is because the butter will solidify, and when I score the baklava, it's going to be that much easier to do. Put it in the fridge, set my timer for about 10 minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, so we have our baklava that's chilled in the fridge for about, I actually had it in there for 15 minutes instead of 10, which is great because the whole purpose is to get it the butter solidified, because it'll be easier to cut and score it. All right, so I've got the oven ready to go, so I'm going to show you how to score it and make those famous diamond-shaped baklava. Butter's all solidified, and we're going to take a sharp knife with a pointy knife. We're going to score. We're not going to cut it right through. We're going to score. You'll see how I do this. I'm pressing it all the way down, but not completely through every single space. So we're going to start off. I like making my triangles a little bit bigger than what you'd normally find at the store or the bakery. By chilling the baklava before you score it is just easier because the sheets are not lifting, and it's just such a much easier way of doing it. Okay, so the next step is to do the actual angle cut. So you could start at the corner from your edge, or center, sorry, and just scoring it down and up. It's just the point of the knife that's actually hitting the base of the tray. I like making mine about an inch and a half to 2 inches. I like the larger pieces. We're going to continue that. Just keep your fingers corner. It's not going to be perfect diamonds throughout, but that's okay. I just flip it around and I continue on the other side. wonky there. That's okay. I've got the oven ready to go at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to bake it. I'm just going to stick it in the oven the way it is. We don't have to cover it. And we're going to bake it for about 40 to 45 minutes. Okay, so that's what it looks like. 40-45 minutes. I'm going to check on it. The goal is to have a golden brown color. We're going to then remove it from the oven, and then we will add our syrup. So I'll show you how that's done. So in the oven it goes. Okay, so I've just taken out my baklava from the oven. I've got a very golden brown, maybe a little crispier than it should be, but it's fine. We're gonna add the syrup. I'm gonna go ahead and with the sieve, I'm gonna grab this bowl and we're going to pour our completely cooled down syrup into the bowl. And then I'm going to add it over the baklava. And you're going to see, you're going to hear a sizzle. It's wonderful. I'm going to grab a ladle, a soup ladle. Here it goes. You want to pour it evenly. You might not hear it. Hopefully you do. Let me bring my microphone closer. Let's continue to pour all the syrup evenly. There we go, now you can really hear it. The syrup actually looks amazing. It's thickened up quite a bit. It's so heavenly. And I don't know anyone that I've served this to that did not like baklava. Everyone who I know loves it. And that's the end of the syrup. I probably should have made a little bit more, but that's okay. I doubled up the batch, so you can imagine. Well, actually not doubled. I did 1.5. I probably should have doubled it because I do like it juicy. And you can see that it's gotten to the bottom and it will filter through the different layers. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. Well, look at that. Al and I started a few hours ago. Our baklava wasn't quite cooled down yet, but we were digging into it. It's best served at room temperature. I'm gonna go ahead and have another 2 diamonds. Simply delicioso. You gotta give this a try. It's not that difficult to make. I hope you follow the ingredients. It'll be linked down below. Thank you so much for watching this episode. For those of you who have not subscribed, we would really love for you to join our community and hit that subscribe button. Thank you again for those who are subscribed. We appreciate your tagging along on these videos. We enjoy making them, and we hope to bring you more and more videos, both cooking, baking, and adventures. And of course, wood-fired oven, whether it's pizza or other delicious meals. So stay tuned. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.